Hello and welcome to today's community event. I'm Megan Watson and I'm on the product marketing team here at Zendesk, and I'll be your host for today. We really appreciate you joining us for this deep dive on delivering better CX at scale with AI-powered messaging. Before we get started, we want to share a few exciting upcoming events that you might want to check out. The first is on September 10th. We will be hosting a product insights exchange on Zendesk Sandboxes. In this 60-minute session, you'll discover how to leverage these environments to confidently implement changes in a controlled environment. You'll definitely want to check that out. Next, on September 24th, will be another product insights exchange on the Agent Home. Here, you'll get a preview of how the Agent Home is being continually evolved to power your productivity with AI and messaging. And you'll also get a chance to ask questions and share your feedback directly with Zendesk product team. And last but certainly not least, we have another deep dive coming at you, like the one you're joining today. And this event that's following this one is another one, but it's focused on measuring the impact of AI on your business. More specifically, how to demonstrate ROI for your AI agents in Copilot. So we've got a lot of great events. You don't want to miss out, and we'll be sharing the links to make so you can register and bookmark those events. But back to why we're here today. We're here to talk about delivering better CX at scale with AI-powered messaging. And we've got some great speakers here today to lead us on this topic. Each of these individuals works closely with the area of the product related to what we're talking about today, so messaging. And these experts have worked very closely with customers and helping them in this transition from chat to messaging. They and a few other experts working in the background are here to answer all your questions, either the ones you submitted in advance when you registered, or as they come up in the QA tab here in Bevy. We just ask that you be patient. They're going to do their best to get to all your questions. Any that we miss or do not get to, we will certainly follow up on. And a few housekeeping items before we jump into things. This event is being recorded. So as a follow-up to this event, you'll be receiving this deck as well as links to resources, anything we talked about today, and questions and answers from the event and before. We've got a great agenda for today. First, we're going to discuss why you should migrate from chat to messaging. We know migration can sound confusing and a little daunting, so we're here to break down the terminology and differences to show you how simple it is. Then we're actually going to show you a demonstration of a migration, share a quick customer story, and then finally answer all of your questions about messaging, either the ones you submitted in advance or throughout the event today. I'll stop talking and I'll pass it over to the experts in the room. Courtney, I'll let you take it away from here.
Thank you, Megan, and hello, everyone. I'm excited to talk to you about messaging. Many of you are using chat today, and some of you may even be experimenting with bots or third-party tools. No matter where you are in your journey, you're in the right place now. This session is about why moving to messaging unlocks more powerful experiences, how to make that migration smoothly, and the resources available to support you every step of the way. So before we walk you through how to migrate to messaging, let's talk about why it's essential for you. We predict that by 2030, 80% of all customer service interactions will be resolved by AI. Currently, 20% of interactions are resolved with AI, so we're projecting a 60% increase in automatic resolutions in only 5 years. It's clear that AI is the future of customer service. And messaging is the foundation for Zendesk AI. Since we know that AI is going to resolve 80% of interactions automatically in only the next 5 years, it's time for you to secure a strong foundation and migrate to messaging so you can access Zendesk AI now. For those currently using live chat, Zendesk messaging offers a significant upgrade by combining the best of both worlds, real-time support like live chat and the flexibility of ongoing conversations. This allows customers to engage on their terms, whether they need immediate help or prefer to continue a conversation later. Messaging also provides 24/7 availability, capturing and addressing issues even when agents are offline. Chat has certain limitations that do not encumber messaging. What if more information is needed from the customer, or the customer has more than one issue at a time? What if the customer returns at a later time to continue the same conversation? What if someone's browser session or their network connection ends? We've all had that. Chat has certain barriers in addressing these questions, whereas messaging has solutions, allowing you to provide resolution for your customer. Moreover, with messaging, you can leverage AI agents to automate a wide range of inquiries, integrating seamlessly with your existing workflows to resolve issues more efficiently. And beyond traditional chat experience, messaging expands your reach to social channels like Facebook, WhatsApp, and more, making your support even more accessible and tailored to your customers' preferred platforms. Finally, messaging is fully integrated with Zendesk, allowing you to take advantage of advanced features all within the agent workspace. By upgrading to messaging, you're not just enhancing your current service, you're positioning your team to leverage the latest innovations as soon as they're released. To be really clear, new improvements are happening on messaging. Feature updates, product improvements, and new releases launch on messaging, not chat. As mentioned earlier, our messaging platform is based on persistent rather than session-based conversations, which support multiple conversation styles. Let's see what this actually looks like by walking through these conversational scenarios. We'll start with scenario one. This first scenario should look familiar and can be thought of as the closest to chat. This conversation style is totally valid on messaging too. The ticket comes in, the agent and the customer go back and forth, and we can have a trigger that automatically closes the ticket. On chat, if the customer responds again after this point, a new ticket is created. But on messaging, their inquiry would be captured in the same ticket, which brings us to scenario two. This second scenario allows for a bit more back and forth. The agent may even solve the ticket and the customer reopens it. But the ticket would not close until it's met the conditions of your closed ticket automation or one that's specifically created for messaging tickets. This is what customers of Zendesk usually end up doing. And finally, there's the option of a true asynchronous conversation style that could go on for an extended period of time. Keep in mind that if you choose to use this last one, this will largely increase your ticket resolution times because the ticket is not being solved as soon as your current tickets are. The fact that these conversations are persistent allows your customer to begin engaging even if you don't have an agent free. It also allows your customer to swap channels from web to mobile or web to email, etc., and still continue the same conversation. So now that we understand the limitations of chat, the advantages of messaging, and the three conversation styles permitted on messaging, let's clear up what might feel like the biggest question. How is messaging actually different from chat? The good news is that messaging builds on the foundation of chat, so much of what you already know will feel familiar. At the same time, messaging unlocks powerful new capabilities like persistent conversations across channels and deeper AI integration, and this goes beyond what chat could do. So let's think of this as an evolution, not a replacement. What you know stays with you, and what's new helps you deliver even better customer experiences. We'll start with ticket status. As we discovered earlier, on chat, if the requester leaves, the session has ended, which you can see happening on the left. On messaging, the requester could leave and come back on the same ticket. On the right, you can see the icon is green, meaning the customer is actively engaged in the conversation. The bubble below is clear, showing the status is inactive, meaning the customer is no longer engaged in the conversation. If the customer were to return, the status would again update to green. And of course, agents can close inactive tickets within messaging to avoid a clogged queue, and additional queries from the same customers will reopen the same ticket. This ensures that agents always have customer context but are not encumbered by open tickets. You're probably familiar with chat shortcuts. On messaging, we call them support macros. Chat shortcuts are limited to chat, but macros are available for all tickets in every channel. In other words, with messaging, you're able to manage all of your shortcuts and macros in one place in support, and your whole team can manage and access them to reply to tickets. You can even continue to use the same / to easily add macros to tickets, which we know is a feature customers love. And you can also create a macro from macro suggestions, making the experience even easier with Copilot. Just to note, in order to do that, you must be on messaging in order to have access to Copilot and Auto Assist. All right, next is triggers. Though their names are the same, there are a couple advantages to messaging triggers over chat triggers. With messaging, all triggers are accessible in support with the same conditions and actions available, making it easier to manage an action. Chat requires separate triggers to manage and different options for conditions. Further, messaging unlocks the ability to add on Zendesk Copilot, which provides routing and analytics through intelligent triage. A quick terminology change here. Chat departments are now called support groups on messaging. If you're on Agent Workspace, then you already use support groups, so you're ahead of the game. A couple things to note here. On messaging, you can build routing logic across all channels, not just chat. This is a huge advantage, and this is a key benefit to streamline your work on your team with messaging. Another great benefit of messaging groups is seen through omni-channel routing, which is available to all suite customers. Again, those on Agent Workspace are already experiencing this benefit. And last but not least, in chat, you must manually request transcripts after each customer conversation, whereas messaging automatically sends each one to you after a ticket has been solved and closed, making life just that much easier. So let's zoom out of glossary land and back into the big picture. Migrating from chat to messaging benefits you and your team for a few reasons. First, messaging allows for flexible conversation styles and more options for your agents. Second, messaging is getting the latest and greatest feature updates from Zendesk. We are investing our resources into updating and maintaining messaging so it will have the best functionality for your team. And third, and most important, messaging allows you access to our AI add-ons like Copilot with intelligent triage and AI agents, all of which will streamline your workflows and automate tasks, allowing you and your team to focus on more complex inquiries. Okay, now that you're bought in on migrating, let's get into the nitty-gritty of how to actually do it. There are two ways to think about migration, and they both have some pros and cons, so let's chat through them. You have the choice between automatic migration and manual migration. The value of automatic migration is straightforward. You need no updates to your code snippets. Once you hit migrate, your code snippets will update automatically everywhere your widget is enabled. A potential drawback here is that automatic updating implies you can't stage your new widget. The automatic update is truly automatic and simple. However, there is a workaround for you. You can test changes in sandboxes or in production widgets to make sure your migration is smooth. You can test new configurations in here and create them for real in chat, and then they'll automatically migrate to messaging. Customers have had success with this option. You could also opt to migrate manually, which is another successful route. The pro here is staging and testing. Unlike automatic migration, you can configure and test your widget in your instance rather than in a sandbox, so there's no chance for error. However, a potential drawback here is that the process is a bit more manual. You'll have to remove your old code snippets and then update the new code snippets, so that piece is not automatic. So once you decide on which type of migration is better for you and your team, you'll want to migrate smoothly. So we've broken this down into 3 simple steps for you. These are preparation, launch, and measurement. Marie will demo the launch step for you in a couple minutes. All right, let's chat through preparation. You'll want to make sure your team is ready for migration. The most key piece of advice is to communicate early and often to your team about changes they can expect to see, especially regarding metrics. So you'll start with a chat audit. What do you want to keep? What do you want to change? What do you want to remove? Do you want to remove your widget from any web pages? Do you want to add it anywhere new? We recommend making a master document to track your decisions. And once you ask and answer these questions and other questions like them, you can decide on your migration type, whether you want that automatic or that manual migration. This is also a great time to evaluate AI agents and understand how it interacts with messaging and where it can make your life easier. On messaging, all Suite customers have access to AI Agents Essentials. Is this enough? Do you need to add advanced? Then you'll want to familiarize your team with messaging. It's important they understand the change and are bought into it. Ask for their feedback during the auditing process to make sure you're catching everything too and tracking it in that master document. You'll also want to make sure you can get them excited about AI and how it can make their lives easier. And communicating with them helps to do that. Finally, decide on how you'll measure impact and performance and pick a launch date. Use that master tracker from above to work backwards to implement any changes you want to make. We recommend starting with your smallest brand, sort of as a launch test, and scaling from there. Okay, so let's talk about launch day. As I mentioned before, we recommend launching one brand at a time, starting with the smallest and then scaling from there. If you've decided to migrate your widget, hit migrate. If you've configured and staged a new one, deploy it. Then check in with your agents to make sure they're adjusting well. Shadow them and collect feedback on the new experience, and utilize our help center and your support teams if questions arise. We have plenty of resources to help you in this deck, which we'll share after the webinar. And as you all here know, our community is pretty great too. And finally, reiterate to agents and stakeholders that performance metrics may change during the transition. We're about to talk through that, changes that they can expect to see. Okay, so once you move to messaging, you can expect to see some changes. Since every customer instance is different, results may vary, but here are a few broad stroke changes that you may experience. Change management looks different for everyone, and we're with you every step of the way. So when in doubt, visit our help center or return to the glossary attached to this deck to go over some changes from chat to messaging. The great news, you can expect a higher CSAT and a higher containment rate. Because chat is session-based, if the requester leaves the session, there's no way to pick it back up, even if their question has not been resolved. With messaging, this is not an issue, and you can now solve more customer queries. Our AI agents are optimized to work with messaging, allowing you to drive higher automation and deflection rates. We recommend evaluating the benefits of adding AI agents to your experience when you migrate to messaging to fully optimize your instance. You probably will encounter a longer resolution time at first. Although this sounds negative, it's actually positive. Now agents can keep tickets open longer or reopen them, giving agents flexibility to solve customer problems. This is different from chat, in which once a ticket is closed, it's gone forever. And finally, you'll see a lower ticket volume as customer tickets are consolidated to one thread that maintains contextual history. This benefits your agents and the customer by maintaining this history. So now that we're all aligned on what to expect with migration, let's see it in action. I'm going to hand it over to Marie, who will show a real-life example of chat to messaging migration in action.
As Courtney mentioned, I have had the chance to migrate many customers over to from chat to messaging. And we'll take a look at what that migrating actually entails today. So if and when you migrated to Agent Workspace, our latest user interface, you've already aligned your chat departments with support groups, right? So now all of that can be managed right in support. Now the parity continues to deepen even more with the move to messaging. Once you've communicated internally about the move to messaging, and you've enabled your agents to begin taking messaging tickets and tested your experience, here are the steps you can expect to take on launch day. So you may be familiar with adjusting your settings within chat today, but with the move to messaging, all settings, business rules, and everything, just like all other products within Zendesk, are managed within the admin center in support. Let's take a look at an overview of the steps to technically move everything from chat to messaging. Like Courtney mentioned earlier, all of your chat shortcuts can be repurposed for macros in support. You can still quickly access by /, as we mentioned earlier. And instead of chat triggers, you'll use support triggers. So for example, when a messaging ticket is created, you can easily set the form and group that the ticket goes to with a trigger. Finally, a large component with the move to messaging is the concept of business hours. Well, once you submit a messaging ticket, in the world of chat, if an agent wasn't available, chat wasn't available, and therefore customers couldn't reach out with a request. In the world of messaging, you have many options inside and outside of your organization's business hours. You can set schedules within Zendesk support, and outside of business hours, you can simply display a messaging widget and have customers fill out details, letting them know when an agent will be available again, or allow them to submit a ticket and be addressed when agents are available. You also have the ability to add an AI-powered bot who interacts with the customers to hopefully resolve their issue before they would even need to wait for business hours to resume. I'll show you shortly where you can add these business hours in your messaging widget. Now let's see how to automatically migrate your messaging or your chat widget as Courtney described earlier. So you might be familiar with the classic widget. In my instance here, we're going to find our classic web widget. And remember, this is the widget or the channel that most of you would be using to make chat available for your customers. If you're using a third-party chatbot in combination with chat, there are some additional steps to keep in mind, or you can consider using our most advanced AI agents option, which would allow for endless possibilities of making that most robust AI-powered messaging experience. For now, we'll assume we're using a standalone classic web widget, and here we see that. You'll notice that the code snippet under installation will remain the same once we migrate, which is that automatic migration option that Courtney talked through. This is what you use to embed your chat widget on additional websites and also make available to your help center if you have one. Now to migrate, we're going to simply click turn on messaging. And now the widget is a messaging widget. It's that easy. So you'll see here now that there are some additional settings to choose from. So for example, you can style your widget. We can add curved corners, change the color. We can add a logo. Here's where you can update your business hours if you have certain schedules that you need to adhere to. You can ask for additional details before passing them along to an agent or submitting a ticket via messaging. Here's where we can add our AI agents and some additional settings here. Finally, you'll see that under installation, your code snippet remains the same as your classic web widget. And this means everywhere that your existing widget lived, your new and improved messaging widget will now be displayed. Now that you've seen the simple steps to migrate from chat to messaging, let's take a quick look at the agent and end user experience that your end users will see, as well as your agents. So you'll see here, we'll pop open the web widget. And as an agent, I am going to go online. And enter some details. And you'll see that I'm automatically routed that. We mentioned omni-channel routing previously, briefly in this session, but as you can see, I've been routed the ticket, and now could be potentially in an ongoing conversation with our end user. I can send these, I can access my shortcuts, just like I could in chat. And again, this experience is now available and can chat and place those widgets anywhere your current chat is available. Again, this is just a high level overview of the basics of migrating, but Courtney will take it home and hope many of you get to migrate in the future.
Awesome. Welcome back. Now that we've seen what messaging can do for you, let's talk about what messaging can do for your customers. Those are the people we're all here to serve. And I'm happy to say messaging is making a real impact for them. Let's look at Accent Group, an Australian retailer, as an example. When they migrated to messaging, they set a goal of a 10% containment rate during migration, and they exceeded that goal, hitting a 75% containment rate right off the bat. They also experienced a 90% decrease in customer wait times on messaging, and their CSAT increased by 13%. For more details, you can find Accent Group's complete customer story on our website and linked in this deck, which will be sent to you. As shown here today, you can migrate to messaging in a few simple steps, but we're also here to help. Reach out to your account team or consider buying a professional services package to make your migration even that much more straightforward. Hopefully, it's been clear. Exciting change is happening now over on messaging. New features are being released, conversation styles are flexible and persistent, and messaging allows you access to Zendesk AI, getting the fullness of the resolution platform. We all have the same goal: to give your customers the best support possible, and the best way for you to do that is to be on Zendesk messaging. We're here to help you provide the best possible experience for your end users or your customers, and attached to this deck are some resources, including a sample migration map for planning, links to specific Help Center articles geared for migration, and the best practices we reviewed here together. Our professional service teams are also available and more than willing to help you migrate too. So let's go do it. And with that, we'll now answer any questions you have.
We're now going to start the live Q&A, and a friendly reminder to everyone, these are questions that you submitted when you registered for the event. So of course we didn't get a chance to answer them all, but we handpicked a few today, and that's what our experts are going to be answering during this session of the event. Again, anything we haven't gotten to, we will send as a follow-up with answers to your questions. So let's get right into it. Let's start with the first question. What competitive advantages can businesses gain by adopting AI-powered messaging early? And I'd love to hear from you, Courtney, on that.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mason. Hopefully, the webinar content answered this question for you in a nuanced way. But to summarize at a high level, the main advantage of messaging is the ability to access Zendesk AI. Customers also benefit from flexible conversation styles and a single thread that maintains contextual history because it allows for agent flexibility and more efficiency. They're able to catch up quickly to ticket history, like if they're new to the ticket, without having customers repeat themselves, which we all know can be an annoying customer experience if you're the customer having to re-explain your problem. Customers also report that migration is key because it allows them to have everything in one ecosystem, which allows more seamless configurations and a smoother agent experience overall. There are many intangible benefits as well, like having one trusted support partner in Zendesk rather than being on chat and having a third-party bot and managing two vendor relationships. Um, and because you've got everything in-house, it'll integrate and work well together. And if you do have questions, you only have one customer support team to reach out to, and they'll help you right away. So those are sort of the intangibles as well.
I love it. Folks, get on over to messaging. All right, next question. And hello, Chris. It's the first time we're hearing from you today. We did introduce you sort of in the beginning, but Chris is also another individual who has worked very closely with customers on this transition. So we're excited to have you here today, Chris. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. How does Zendesk ensure AI-powered messaging aligns with an organization's existing CX strategy?
Yeah, thanks, Megan. I've been hiding in the background saying, yeah, compared to chat, AI-powered messaging is a much more flexible platform, allowing those multiple conversation styles, as Courtney described earlier. It also allows you the ability to take your conversations from one channel or one device to another, and also provides a number of different mechanisms for automating both the customer and agent journeys, ensuring that you can align with pretty much whatever your organization's CX strategy is.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And kind of piggybacking onto that, we're all excited. I think we're bought in on messaging, but I think maybe the audience might still want to know, like, how does it handle spikes in support requests compared to chat?
Yeah, I think this is a great question. So thanks for raising it, Amelia. I mean, you can use, our AI agent capability to help deflect and automate those support requests that are coming in. They can respond, when you have a free agent rather than the chat being missed completely as it used to be the case. You can also choose how those support requests are prioritized. So in chat, regardless of whether you're the most important customer with the most urgent issue or not, you always got placed at the bottom of the queue. Whereas with messaging, that's not the case. You can also continue that conversation on that different channel. So imagine, for example, somebody starts that conversation on the web. They can go and continue that conversation on mobile or email or WhatsApp, whichever their choice, whatever their choice is.
Love it. Meeting customers where they're at. Um, One more, Chris. I'm sure we'll ask you more later on, but I think these flow really nicely together. Okay, so great. It handles spikes, but what about personalization?
Great question. So our AI agents are built to work on messaging and can surface those generative AI answers to customers' questions based on the knowledge that might be stored within your knowledge base or other knowledge sources. They can also be used to guide customers down a predefined path, yeah, or surface data from your backend systems, or even use the power of agentic AI to allow customers to have a flexible, much more automated conversational experience, which will help guide them to a solution.
Perfect. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate your perspective. All right, next question. How does AI-powered messaging help balance cost saving with personalization at scale?
Yeah, I'm happy to take this one. I'd love to take a look at some real customer use cases. And so for this answer, I'll talk about customers on AI Agents Advanced because customers using AI agents are also on messaging. So we'll use the example of Lush. Lush has seen 360 agent hours saved monthly, which is obviously a huge cost saving for the company as a whole. Another company called SodaStream saw a $437,000 cost savings with Zendesk AI. And a final example, Propolis, saw 830 support hours saved in the first 3 months of using Zendesk AI agents. And they were able to automate 43% of their tickets. Their AI agent may also be an angel, handled 3,344 conversations in the first 3 months. So as you can see, we're seeing real value and real cost savings right away, right off the bat within 3 months. And these are just a few examples. Our website has tons of customer stories just like these, and I encourage you to check them out.
Awesome. Thank you, Courtney. Um, Next question is from Shreya. How quickly can businesses like see these results? So I know you gave us a few examples, Courtney, and that's incredible. But would love to hear from you, Marie, because I know you've actually really helped customers in this transition. So would love your perspective.
Yeah. And as Courtney mentioned, I think that, a lot of customers tend to cite more year over year stats, but in terms of how quickly you can expect to see results, one, it will matter on what targets and KPIs you have in mind. But two, how well did we enable our agents, or what type of metrics are we really monitoring? And stats can be seen definitely sooner than year over year, right? You can expect maybe within 3 to 6 months on average is when customers really start to see, maybe decrease in their resolution times, or their first reply times. And really, once the agents are able to become more comfortable with taking the messaging tickets and things like that. So it might not be an immediate, but I would say most hover around that 3 to 6 month mark.
Awesome. Very, very cool. Thanks for sharing. All right, next question is around how proactive can AI-powered messaging be? And so if we think about the experience, especially from like a retail perspective, if a customer is lingering for a while, right? Like proactively engaging and offering support and help. But I think customers are used to that from like a chat experience, but how does that look on messaging, Marie?
Yeah, messaging actually has an entire feature set dedicated to proactive messages. So, with those proactive messaging features, you can deliver those targeted messages to your customers through the web widget or through the mobile SDK channel, without waiting for them to start the conversation. So, for example, as kind of Megan alluded to, but if someone waiting to check out or they've been on a page for a period of time, you can go ahead and start the conversation right from there.
Awesome. Thank you. We're asking you a lot, Marie, but we just love your experience with customers. So Matthew has a great question here. I think, customers just are curious, like, okay, how do we reduce the wait times, but really maintain that quality? And so would love your thoughts here.
Yeah. In general, I think we've made it kind of clear that there's just more features and options in order to really just handle conversations in general. But one of the main benefits, right? It allows customers to leave conversations and then come back, and versus that whole chat session ending, and maybe they need to move from their computer to mobile. In addition, we also have a wait time feature that you might have seen me scroll over in the new messaging widget features settings. And that lets customers know when they can expect a reply from agents, which is really helpful. Maybe it's not urgent and they see that wait time, or they can move around and come back to it, right? So we also have messaging triggers that can also send follow-up emails to customers with any unread messages from their conversation, so that we ensure that they see the latest response. So, all of that does relate back to your customer wait times and, the experience that they have.
Love it. And you can report on that, folks, which is even better. So thank you. All right. Marie, a couple more. How or can Zendesk AI-powered messaging work across multiple channels? I think we addressed this during your presentation and walking us through it. But yeah, maybe you can kind of give us the list.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is another key benefit of having messaging, right? You can use this over a variety of channels to really meet your customers where they are. So messaging allows for you to communicate with customers asynchronously across multiple devices and channels, all within that same conversation history and ticket. So that's all retained and easy for agents and users to navigate from, one channel to another.
Awesome. Thank you. It's all about meeting customers where they're at, and on what channel they want to be at that time. So that's really cool. All right, next. What are some of the biggest challenges from your experience working with customers, what have they maybe reported during this transition?
Yeah. So I would say from experiencing, a wide range of customers or a number of customers who've had kind of seamless migrations and the few that have had maybe slightly more challenging migrations, I would say hands down the difference was preparation, right? So not only do we have a lot of resources to share and to go through, but enabling agents, building and testing your messaging experience can really help you understand exactly how it will work post launch day. And it gives everyone the confidence to make the move, right? So the resources, again, that we'll share help you ensure you're taking the right steps. And I'd say the biggest challenge would be, lack of preparation. Maybe they didn't understand that the metrics might be look a little different, or the agent experience could be a little different. But yeah, so I would say preparation will really present fewer challenges.
Yeah. And again, we've got great resources for you all that we'll share with everyone to kind of help with that preparation piece. So thanks, Marie. Appreciate it. All
Mhm.
right. Okay, best practices. Everybody loves best practices. Courtney, you definitely walked us through a ton, but maybe an opportunity to just recap a few for the audience.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely encourage the audience to refer back to that section where we talked through preparation, launch, and measurement, especially as Maria was just saying, preparation is really key. And so, kind of thinking through, you know, asking yourself all of the questions, tracking them, doing that chat audit of what you want to keep, what you want to change, like that kind of preparation that we kind of mapped out for you. Is definitely a best practice. And hopefully those three slides kind of like help ground you. I also didn't show it today, but we created a sample migration map slide, which really walks you through, like, I think it's like 6 or 7 steps that takes those broad best practices that we went through and kind of like deep dives them into 6 step-by-step plans. And that's in the appendix of this deck. So it'll be sent to you. Made it for this webinar like totally relevant. And I think that would be really helpful for you in tandem with the specific Help Center articles that I linked out specifically also in the appendix, because our Help Center is big and there's a lot of resources in there. And I pulled like 2 or 3 that are also step by step. So you've got the map, you've got the Help Center articles with more words, and then you've got the 3 best practice slides, which are like kind of broader. So those will all be sent to you after this webinar. Ultimately, I really think taking a look at step 3 in the plan, and like thinking through your migration option slide as a starting point is going to be really key, because that'll help you, that will like plan your map, right? Like if you decide to do automatic or manual migration, that'll like inform how you utilize the migration map, like that'll change your steps. And so I think that doing that in the preparation step is going to be really key. And then, of course, you can always re-watch like Marie's section of the demo, um, just to make sure you're kind of doing it right, validation, making sure that your launch is seamless.
Awesome. Thanks, Courtney. And we can flash that up on the screen before we leave. I think we'll have enough time to just reference it so people can see it. And then again, we'll send it out to you after this event. All right, 2 more. We've got enough time for 2 more. The audience wants to know more about change management strategies. Any training or skills that you recommend? Marie, Chris, maybe either of you could weigh in here. I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, one is definitely taking advantage of Zendesk free on-demand training. So working with whoever maybe does do training and development for your agents already. So taking those admin and agent courses specifically for messaging and then tailoring them to your unique workflows. Maybe there'll be new custom statuses introduced if you're also going to be using omni-channel routing, letting them know when to use those statuses and when to not. Again, Courtney highlighted it, but part of the change management is the different the session moving really to an ongoing potentially conversation. So really enabling your agents, what qualifies kind of ending or changing the status of a messaging conversation. So I'd say those are kind of the big ones that I pay attention to with customers. Not sure, Chris, if you have anything to add there.
Yeah, I think the other thing to think about, in terms of the change management is, you don't need to bite off, too much in your sort of first migration. Yeah, start with, pretty much trying to replicate what you have in chat. I think that's a great place for most people to start. It's the safest place for people to start. It's the, least risky, I guess. Sort of risk minimization. Start with that, then, see what capabilities you have in the world of messaging, play around with them a bit, and then just work out, how you can adopt the ones that are right for you. We showed you earlier on that there's all these conversational styles, all these, AI automation capabilities and stuff in there, but you don't have to use all of them. But once you've got them, you can start having a play and then seeing what works best for you.
Awesome. Great advice. All right, let's wrap up with some analytics. Everybody always wants to know about reporting. So what analytics does AI messaging provide to improve agent performance and workflows?
Yeah, I'm happy to take this one. It's a great question, and obviously many organizations are focused on metrics, but if you are currently on chat and you're used to the chat data set, you will see many of those metrics and attributes with messaging. However, messaging also has a data set all of its own, just due to that difference in session-based conversations. So messaging metrics really offer a holistic view of the customer engagement over time and across different channels, while those live chat metrics focus on immediate service performance and efficiency. So what I would recommend is, taking a look at what you're currently measuring with chat, and then go ahead and kind of build or map out what's available with messaging, and then, just be prepared to speak to maybe stakeholders of why that difference is available. But yeah, we're continuing to add metrics and attributes all the time, and really giving you that full picture of what that experience looks like from a metrics perspective.
Perfect. Thank you, Marie. Great answer. And really great questions, everyone. Thank you for submitting them in advance. And I just want to take the time to thank our experts for giving us their insights and expertise here. Just in the last minute, I do want to glance up some of this additional work that the team has put together, and we will share with you all as a follow-up to this event. Just more on why messaging. We've got incredible resources here to really guide you step by step and learn more. And then, as Courtney mentioned, here's this amazing migration map that was put together. And we will be sharing this with all of you after the event. So I'm going to stop sharing so you can see all of our faces. I want to thank again our experts for being here. And I want to thank everyone for joining. Such a great topic. We hope that this event has kind of eased some concerns and got you excited to make that move. But again, we're always here for you. We've got great resources, the team, and we want to make it a success for you all. So thank you everyone for joining, and we'll see you at the next event. Bye.